what I'm telling you is, you're studying this and you have to do the assignment. That's all fine, right? But it is not. You as an MBA need to be able to do these things in real world, right? In your day-to-day work, also you have to do this, right? That's what makes you a better professional. That's what makes you an MBA. That's what makes you different from a non-MBA management professional. Yeah, so you're getting your team to do this, you doing it, you having this knowledge in the back of your mind. It's super powerful, right? You'll realize this. I mean, as management professionals, you often have to do networking. You have to talk at business meetings. You have to talk to the board. You have to talk to the management. You have to talk to the staff. Even when you do so, in order to talk with confidence and with authority, you need this knowledge in your head, right? You need to have this analysis in your head. That's when you can make a logical case with examples. This is how this society is now operating. This is the political landscape right now. So we need to do this. That's how you make a compelling case. That's how you make strong decisions. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. Shall we take a 5 minutes break? Just for me to sort of go grab something. I'm not going to have lunch until I finish this. By the time I finish this, it's 2:30 Sri Lanka time, because we're starting at 12:30 and it's going till ideally it should go till 3 o'clock, right? Let's see. Yeah, so let's have a 5 minute break now, and we'll come back.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Are you there? I don't know if you can hear me. I'm going to send a message as well. I think because we have to go another 1.5 hours, let's take a 15-minute break. I'll have a very, very quick lunch. Otherwise, it'll be 3 o'clock by the time I have lunch, and that's going to give me gastritis, right? So I'm going to have a quick lunch. So let's take 15-minute break, and we'll be back after that.
Sure, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. So we have been talking about the pestle analysis and the SWOT analysis. And like I said, you're trying to do this with a sort of a marketing perspective. This will anyway be done as part of the strategic management of any organization. So you as the head of marketing, director marketing, or sometimes even as the chief executive officer who is very much involved in marketing, will also be part of that strategic marketing process. what you can do is you can do that, but you can also sort of take information from that and add information into it from a marketing perspective, right? Now, another tool that we use, so after those basic two tools, we get into a bit more advanced tools. So this is called the Porter's 5 forces analysis, right? A very popular, very famous strategic management tool. What this tool helps you to do is to analyze your industry, right? So, for example, Jet is in the tourism and technology industry, right? Joe Carl is in sales of medical devices, right? And who else is here joining today? Surandrajit is in insurance, right? Industry. Sebastian, were you there last week?
No, I didn't manage to.
Yeah, but Sebastian, I remember you were in the strategic planning module, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, so this is we've spoken about all of these before.
Yes, correct.
But we are trying to we have more emphasis here on the marketing side, right? That's the difference here, right? So anyway, so think you use this tool to analyze your industry, right? So you can imagine that if you're in the industry of selling medical devices, then there's rivalry. There are competitors who are selling other electronic thermometers, right? So there's rivalry among the existing competitors, right? So what you have to understand, what is that rivalry like? Who are these competitors? How many are there, right? What are the differences of those competitors, and what are the similarities of those competitors, right? In terms of cost, you can use the 4Ps even, right? What kind of market share do they have, right? What is your market share? What is their market share? What is the customer loyalty? What is the brand of these competitors, and so on, right? What is the current rivalry like? And then you try to understand what is the threat of new entrants, right? How easy is it for a new competitor to enter into this rivalry? How easy it is? Does it take a lot of resources? Is it very costly for a new competitor to enter, right? Does it need some specialist knowledge? Do you need patents, right? Are there things protected by patents by the main player, right? What about the economies of scale? I mean, maybe the current market leader has large factories, large workforces. That is why the market leader is able to make those products at a cheaper price, right? So if a new entrant is coming and expected to compete at that price, then that person will have to invest in that large factory and the technology and the workforce and so on, right? Are there things that are protected by patents, right? Then it is not easy. You will have to come up with your own way of tackling these things. So and are there any regulatory barriers to entry, right? So like this, you do an analysis of the threat of new entrants, And then you also do an analysis of threats of substitutes. That is, can there be another product which consumers can use and get the same service that they get from your product, right? So this is always with respect to your product, right? Then the bargaining powers of the suppliers and the buyers, right? We start with the suppliers. Who are these suppliers? So your suppliers, right? If you're doing something, you have suppliers who are providing you raw materials or the product itself. It can be the manufacturer, whoever, right? So who are these suppliers? How many are there? What is their strengths? Like, I mean, are they market leaders? Do they have a monopoly in terms of their supply and so on, right? Because if you are buying your raw material, and if your product is dependent on one supplier, that's not a good place to be in, because the supplier has more bargaining power than you. If the supplier decides to increase the prices tomorrow, you can't bargain, right? Because there's no other supplier for you to go to, right? So that is called the bargaining power of the supplier. If the bargaining power of the supplier is high, then it's not a good place for you to be in, right? Again, bargaining power of buyers, right? If your customers are one or two, let's say if you're a B2B company, you're selling services, or your product is bought largely by one or two people, one or two customers, one or two companies, right? So you are a supplier now, right? That is also that gives them, the buyers, more bargaining power, right? Because if they stop buying from you, then you're out of business. So if they ask you to reduce the price, if they ask you for credit periods, if they ask you for any other offers, you're obliged to give it to them, because you are dependent. If 50% of your business is dependent on one customer, that is not a very good place to be at. So what you try to do is you try to reduce the bargaining powers of your suppliers and your buyers, right? And the easiest way to do that is to have many suppliers, or break apart your supply chain, and also diversify your customer base, right? Diversify your customer base, so that you have more bargaining power than the buyers and the suppliers. Now, normally what happens is, if the suppliers are very strong, if they're big, sometimes what they do is they buy the customer, right? This is called vertical integration. So they can buy the customer in terms of the company. They can buy the company. They can buy your company, right? And make it as part of their conglomerate. Can be the other way around as well. If you are a telecommunications giant, and if your company is making some kind of software or some kind of a small accessory for them, and if they are your main buyer, then they can buy you, right? So these are some of the implications when it comes to competitor analysis or industry analysis. And this is an analysis that you will do in terms of your marketing. So when you do this, you will look at You will also look at what your competitors are doing. What is your competitors? What is the bargaining power of the suppliers of your competitor? There's a question. All right, Sebastian. Again, you will have to, you can talk about this in your assignment. You will have to think about who are the customers, how diversified the customer is of your competitors, right? So similarly, you do this analysis. This is very much a marketing tool, right? But a strategic management tool, very strategic marketing tool, as you can understand. Certainly talk about this in your assignment. Okay.